So I had gone into Anzen Kawasaki in Mumbai for a test ride of the 2020 Z900 because I'd heard what a fantastic bike it was in terms of revised ergonomics, which was slightly better for the rider. I loved the engine always. And I test rode the bike and I put up the video. But then my friend Jason told me that I should ride this bike, which is the Ninja1000 SX, the 2020 version. I've always loved the Ninja 1000, but there were a couple of things against it. One was the fact that it was a sports bike and I was looking at something more versatile like an adventure bike. The other thing was that its ground clearance was really low. And so I was, initially I was afraid until I got a little more experience in riding motorcycles and understood what the lay of the land was. I was a little nervous about riding a bike that was so sporty and with such low ground clearance and things like that. But now I think I know enough about terrain and different kinds of roads and what kind of roads there are in India, having done them on a Versus and an Africa Twin. So I'm confident that this bike will be able to handle it, provided you ride carefully. But the main thing with the Ninja 1000 was that it had a lot of inertia. It didn't want to turn in. It didn't want to lean in. It wasn't nimble. It wasn't flickable. And so that's actually very counterintuitive to a sports bike, and especially when you get a sports bike, you want something that can carve corners, turn in quickly, and that's the enjoyment of something that's quick. And a four-cylinder bike particularly, you want it to be flickable so that you can enjoy that power and the engine, and this has got 140 bhp. But Kawasaki have done some magic, and now this bike feels like an absolutely different one. It feels like a new bike. Seems like there's no connection between this and the old Ninja except for the ergonomics in the seating position. Even the ergonomics are much more comfortable. You're sat up a little more straight up now compared to leaning in. And so it's actually much more comfortable than before. It was already a very comfortable bike. Now it's far more comfortable than before in terms of the seating position. It almost feels like you're sitting on top of a very comfortable adventure bike. And the other thing is how the handling has completely changed. It's become flickable. It feels like you're riding a much smaller bike. It doesn't feel heavy at all. It's not about going in a straight line. It's very controlled. It responds to your inputs on the handlebars very quickly. It's beautifully set up. I think it's one of the most comfortable, ergonomically comfortable sports bikes you could ever ride. I don't think anything else would come very close to it. Perhaps the BMW S1000R or something like that, but even that's more aggressive. So this is really a very, very ergonomically comfortable bike, and it's got a beautiful engine. It's got all the power. It's got all the electronics to keep you safe. It's got lean sensitive ABS and traction control, and it's a great looker. The only thing that remains is the ground clearance is still 137 mm, so you have to be careful when you're going over speed breakers. But if you're a relatively experienced biker, you'll know how to do that. And of course, you'll take it to only decent roads, and you're not going to be off-roading on this thing. But the suspension felt very supple, very comfortable, even over these cobbled streets that I went over. And I'm absolutely intrigued by this bike. I think I've changed my mind about the Z900 because for my size, if I want something, it'll definitely be something in this size, which is very, very comfortable for me over really long trips. Even 10 hours, 11 hours, I can see myself doing on this bike.
Beautiful, yeah. I love it. Let's talk.